Picture this. You're scrolling through a government website, looking at immigration forms, and suddenly you see a price tag, $1 million. That's not a typo. That's not a scam website. That's the official cost of fast-tracking your way into American residency, and it's live right now. Welcome to the Gold Card program, where the United States is literally selling citizenship to the highest bidder. But here's the part that'll make your head spin. This might be completely illegal. It's probably going to create a national security nightmare, and it doesn't even solve the problem it claims to fix. Let's break down how we got here. The United States has a brain drain problem, and it's not small. Thousands of researchers, doctors, scientists, and even university students are packing their bags and leaving. They're not leaving because they hate America. They're leaving because the funding dried up. Federal agencies have seen budget cuts. Research grants have been canceled by the thousands. Programs that train the next generation of scientists have been slashed to nothing. If you're a brilliant PhD candidate watching your lab lose funding, or a researcher who just saw your grant disappear overnight, you're not sticking around out of patriotism. You're going where the money and opportunity actually exist, and right now, that's not here. So the administration needed a solution, something bold, something that would bring talent back and maybe, just maybe, raise some money in the process. What they came up with wasn't bold, it was bonkers. They decided to sell citizenship. The program is called the Gold Card, and it costs exactly $1 million, plus a $15,000 processing fee, because apparently $1 million wasn't quite enough. And this isn't some leaked memo or backroom proposal. This is official policy. You can go to a government website right now and see the price list. Here's how it works. The Gold Card hijacks two existing visa programs, the EB-1 and EB-2. These were originally designed for people with extraordinary ability. The EB-1 was literally nicknamed the Einstein visa because it was meant for people operating at that level, Nobel laureates, groundbreaking researchers, people who change fields. The EB-2 was for advanced degree holders and exceptional researchers, scientists working on cutting-edge problems, people who contribute something tangible to American innovation. But the Gold Card flips the script. Instead of proving you're extraordinary, you just prove you're rich. $1 million and you're in. No need to demonstrate groundbreaking research, no need to show you've advanced a field, just show the bank account. And it gets better. You can bring your family, spouse, kids, whoever. Each person just needs to pay their own $1 million, plus that $15,000 in fees. Family of 4? That's over $4 million just to get everyone through the door. But wait, because there's a corporate version too. Companies can sponsor employees for $2 million per person. Sounds generous until you read the fine print. There's an annual maintenance fee. 1% of the sponsorship amount every single year. That's $20,000 annually just to keep the visa active. Oh, and if the employee leaves, 5% transfer fee. The corporate Gold Card isn't citizenship, it's a subscription service, except instead of Netflix, you're paying for the right to live and work in the country. Now, the administration is claiming this program will generate trillions. Last year alone, they say it brought in $1.3 billion. Trillions sounds incredible. It also sounds impossible. Here's why. The United States issues about 1 million green cards per year across all categories. That includes family-based immigration, employment-based visas, refugees, the whole system. The EB-1 and EB-2 programs that the Gold Card is piggybacking on, they represent a small fraction of that total. To generate trillions in revenue, you'd need hundreds of thousands, maybe millions of wealthy buyers. But the system doesn't have the capacity for that. Either the administration is planning to completely overhaul immigration and prioritize rich foreigners over everyone else, or someone's math is wildly optimistic. Probably both. On the surface, this doesn't sound insane. If you're going to let people immigrate, why not prioritize people who can contribute financially? The country needs money. The national debt is ballooning. If someone wants to pay $1 million for residency, what's the harm? The harm is in what's missing, because the United States already has a visa program that works almost exactly like this. It's called the EB-5 Investor Visa, and it's been around for decades. The EB-5 costs the same, $1 million up front. But here's the difference. To keep your visa, you have to create at least 10 American jobs. You're not just parking money in a bank account. You're required to invest in a business or project that generates employment for U.S. citizens. That's the trade. Your money gets you in, but you have to prove you're contributing to the economy. The Gold Card has no such requirement. You pay $1 million and that's it. No jobs, no investment, no proof that you're doing anything productive. The official justification is that wealthy people will inherently benefit the country just by being here, that their presence and spending will trickle down into economic growth. If that logic sounds familiar, it's because it's the same argument that's been used to justify tax cuts for the ultra-wealthy for decades, and the evidence that it actually works? Mixed at best. But let's set aside the economics for a second and talk about the legality, because this program is on shaky ground. Only Congress has the authority to create visa programs. The executive branch can't just invent new immigration categories. That's not how the system works. So the Gold Card uses a workaround. It doesn't technically create a new visa, it just reinterprets existing ones. The fine print on the application website says that Gold Card recipients will actually receive an EB-1 or EB-2 visa upon approval. The $1 million payment isn't called a fee, it's called a gift, a voluntary donation to the U.S. government. Let's pause on that for a second. You're paying $1 million to a government official in exchange for residency, but it's not a bribe, it's a gift. If that distinction sounds absurdly thin, that's because it is. Immigration lawyers are already calling this legally dubious. Some are preparing lawsuits. The argument is straightforward. You can't charge $1 million for a visa that's supposed to be based on merit, call it a gift, and pretend that's not paid to play. And here's the other problem. Because the Gold Card is built on existing visa programs, it's vulnerable. A future administration could reverse the whole thing. This has happened before. When the current president took office, he overturned a huge number of the previous administration's policies on day one. Immigration was at the top of that list. So imagine you're a wealthy foreigner who just paid $1.2 million for a Gold Card. The next president takes office and decides this program was a mistake. What happens to your visa? What happens to your money? The answer is unclear, and because it was a gift, not an investment, good luck getting a refund. Now let's talk about the security risks, because this is where things get genuinely dangerous. Senators from both parties are raising alarms. The concern is simple. The Gold Card could open the floodgates to criminals, Russian oligarchs, cartel bosses, money launderers, crypto scammers, anyone with $1 million and a desire to park themselves in the United States. And the administration knows this. They've acknowledged the risk in the fine print. The website says they can revoke your status if you pose a national security threat or have significant criminal activity in your background. But that's reactive, not proactive. By the time they revoke someone's visa, the money is already in the system. The person is already here. The damage is done. Other countries have tried this playbook. Cyprus and Malta both ran citizenship by investment programs. Both shut them down after massive corruption scandals. Criminals and oligarchs were using these programs to buy their way into the European Union, laundering money and evading sanctions. The Gold Card has no safeguards that would prevent the same thing from happening here. Verifying that someone acquired their wealth legally is incredibly difficult, especially when you're dealing with foreign nationals whose financial records are in jurisdictions with weak transparency laws. You can't just ask someone if their money is dirty and expect an honest answer, and once they're in the country, the money is clean. That's the whole point. But here's where it gets even more absurd. There's already talk of a platinum card, $5 million, and this one comes with a perk that'll make your jaw drop. No U.S. taxes on foreign income. Let that sink in. If you're wealthy enough to pay $5 million, you can live in the United States for up to 270 days a year and pay zero taxes on any money you earn overseas. Your foreign investments, your offshore accounts, your international business income, completely untouched by the IRS. Now compare that to the regular gold card holders. They pay $1 million, and they're subject to full U.S. taxation. Every dollar they earn, whether it's in the U.S. or abroad, gets taxed. The IRS treats them like any other resident. The message is clear. Pay more, get taxed less. This isn't about attracting talent. It's about creating a financial safe haven for the ultra-wealthy. And here's the brutal irony. The administration says this program is about solving the brain drain, about bringing researchers and innovators back to America, about benefiting the country. But the scientists who are leaving, the PhD students watching their funding disappear, they can't afford $1 million entry fee. They're not the target demographic. They're the ones being driven out by budget cuts and canceled grants. Meanwhile, the red carpet is being rolled out for people whose only qualification is that they're rich. They don't need to create jobs. They don't need to innovate. They don't even need to live here full-time if they go for the platinum card. Recent surveys show that 3 out of 4 U.S.-based researchers are considering leaving the country. International student applications have dropped by 30% in the past year. The UK, France, Canada, and Belgium are actively recruiting American scientists who feel abandoned by their own government. The brain drain is real, and the gold card does nothing to stop it. If anything, it makes it worse by signaling that wealth matters more than talent. But here's the good news. People are noticing. Politicians on both sides of the aisle are calling this out. Immigration advocacy groups are preparing legal challenges. Attorneys are lining up to file lawsuits. This program is facing opposition from across the political spectrum, which is rare these days. That tells you something. When both parties agree something is a bad idea, it's probably a bad idea. If you think this program is dangerous, you can contact your representatives. Tell them you don't think citizenship should be for sale. Tell them that selling access to the highest bidder is a race to the bottom. Other countries tried this. It ended in scandal every single time. We don't need to repeat their mistakes. So here's where we are. The United States is selling residency for $1 million. It's probably illegal. It definitely doesn't solve the problem it claims to address. It creates security risks that other countries are already learned the hard way. And it sends a message that if you're rich enough, the rules don't apply to you. The question isn't whether this is a good idea. The question is how long it takes before this turns into the kind of disaster everyone saw coming. For legal reasons, this is analysis and commentary, but the facts speak for themselves. Citizenship isn't supposed to be for sale, and if it is, we should at least be honest about what we're buying and who's really benefiting. Because it's not the scientists, it's not the researchers, it's not the people who actually make this country better. It's the people who can afford not to.